It is a story about a strong mother who never gave up, even when life was very hard. She showed us that love, courage, and hard work can help us overcome even the toughest challenges. Amaka was a beautiful young woman in her early 30s. She had the kind of smile that could warm anyone's heart, even on the darkest days. She lived with her husband, Chaik, in a small but happy home in a quiet village outside Benin. Together, they had two lovely children, David, who was 8 years old, and Elizabeth, just 5. Their home was always filled with laughter. Chaik was not a rich man, but he was hardworking. He owned a small carpentry shop and did his best to provide for his family. He would always say, "Amaka, as long as I have breath, you and these children will never suffer." Every evening, after he returned from his shop, he would throw David in the air and tickle Elizabeth until she laughed from her belly. Then he would sit outside with Amaka, and they would talk about everything: life, the children's future, and even their dreams of one day moving to a big city like Lagos. But one rainy Thursday evening, everything changed. Amaka had prepared Chaik's favorite meal, pounded yam and bitterleaf soup with goat meat. She was waiting for him to return, just like she always did. The rain was pouring hard, and the sky was dark. Hours passed, but there was no sign of Chaik. Her phone rang. It was her neighbor's voice on the other end, shaky and frightened. "Amaka, come to the hospital now. There's been an accident. Chaik. He was hit by a truck." Her heart dropped. She screamed, grabbed her headscarf, and rushed out into the rain barefoot. The children ran after her, crying, but the neighbor held them back. When Amaka got to the hospital, she was too late. Her husband, her best friend, the father of her children, Chaik, was gone. The nurse gently told her, "We tried our best, but he didn't make it. I'm so sorry." Amaka dropped to the floor and let out a scream that tore through the building. Her whole body shook. Her tears mixed with the rainwater on her skin. It felt like the world had ended. The days that followed were like a nightmare. Family and friends gathered for the burial. The villagers came to mourn. People said kind words about Chaik, calling him a good man, a humble man, a family man. But none of those words could bring him back. Amaka sat beside his coffin, holding Elizabeth in one arm and David in the other. Her eyes were dry. She had cried so much that no more tears would come. "I still can't believe this," she whispered, staring at her husband's lifeless face. "Chaik, why did you leave us? What do I do now?" David looked up at his mother. "Mummy, is Daddy going to wake up soon?" She hugged him tighter and said nothing. At the graveside, as the sand covered Chaik's coffin, Amaka felt something break inside her. It wasn't just her heart, it was her whole world. When the burial was over and people started leaving, Amaka stayed behind. She sat alone by the fresh grave, shivering from the cold and the pain. From that moment on, she knew her life would never be the same again. A few days after the burial, Amaka was still trying to understand her new reality. The house felt empty. The silence was loud. Each time she passed Chaik's favorite chair, her heart ached. But she had to be strong for David and Elizabeth. Then came the shock she didn't expect. Chaik's elder brother, Uncle Abina, came to the house with 2 other relatives. They didn't come with food. They did not come with comfort. They came with trouble. He cleared his throat and said, "Amaka, we came to talk about Chaik's properties." She blinked. "Which properties?" Abina pointed around. "This house, the land behind it, and his carpentry tools. You know, in our tradition, when a man dies, his things belong to his family, not his wife." Amaka looked at him in disbelief. "But Chaik built this house for his children. He told me that everything here is for their future." Uncle Abina shook his head. "Forget those sweet words. As his brother, I am now the head of this home. We'll take the tools, sell the land, and you can go back to your father's house." Tears rolled down Amaka's face. "So you want to throw me and my children out?" "It is tradition," he said coldly. "And you are still young. You can marry again." Amaka couldn't believe what she was hearing. Just 2 weeks ago, she buried her husband. Now his own people wanted to take everything from her without pity, without shame. That evening, they returned with more family members. They carried away Chaik's carpentry tools. They took his clothes. They even took his savings box. David held onto his father's old hammer and cried, "Uncle, please don't take this. It's Daddy's." But they snatched it from his hand like it was nothing. Amaka fell to her knees. "Please, have mercy. Where do I go with these children? We have no food, no money." But they didn't care. The next morning, They forced her to pack out of the house. One of them even said, "Don't worry. You will find another man. Just don't bring shame to the family." She left with only a small bag of clothes, holding Elizabeth's hand while carrying David on her back. No one offered help. No one looked back. She walked for hours with no clear destination. Her feet were swollen. Her heart was shattered. Her body was tired. But her mind stayed strong for the sake of her children. When they reached the park, she asked someone, "Please, how much is transport to Lagos?" The man replied, "It is free today. A bus company is doing charity work for widows and orphans." She did not believe it at first, but it was true. A kind man helped her get into the bus with her children. As they sat in the back seat, David whispered, "Mummy, are we going to a better place?" Amaka wiped his face gently and smiled through her tears. "Yes, my son. God will not leave us like this. He has a plan." They left the village that day pushed out by wickedness, carried by faith, and heading toward an unknown future in Lagos. When the bus reached Lagos, the city was already awake. Horns were blaring. People were shouting. Everywhere was full of life and noise. Amaka held her children close as they stepped down from the bus. The smell of roasted corn, smoke, and fuel filled the air. It was nothing like the quiet village they left behind. She had no family in Lagos. No friend to call. No house to stay in. But still, she believed God would help her. They slept under a bridge that first night. Amaka, David, and Elizabeth. She used her wrapper to cover them all. She didn't sleep much. The cold wind kept blowing, and she held her children tightly, praying quietly in her heart. "God, I don't know anyone here. But you know me. Please, help us." By morning, her stomach was empty, but she smiled at her children. "Let us find food and a better place," she said. She walked around the streets, asking people for cleaning jobs or anything she could do. Some ignored her. Some insulted her. One man even told her to go and beg. But finally, a kind woman who sold akara by the roadside gave her 2 pieces and a cup of pap for free. "God bless you, my sister," Amaka said, her eyes filled with gratitude. Each day, she struggled. She washed clothes for strangers, swept compound floors, and sometimes helped market women carry goods. The money was little, but it helped them eat small food. They stayed in a small wooden shack near a canal. The place leaked when it rained. Mosquitoes bit them at night. But it was all they had. One day, while Amaka was walking past a big restaurant in Ikeja, she saw a "Help Wanted" sign on the gate. She stopped and looked inside. The compound was clean. The smell of fried rice and chicken came from the kitchen. Waiters and cooks were walking up and down. Everything looked organized. With courage in her heart, she walked in and greeted the manager. "Good afternoon, sir. I saw the sign outside. I'm looking for work. Please, I can wash plates, clean, do anything." The manager looked at her worn clothes and tired face. "What is your name?" "Amaka. I'm a widow with 2 children. Please, I just need a chance." He nodded slowly. "You can start with cleaning the toilets. If you do well, we'll keep you." Tears of joy filled her eyes. "Thank you, sir. I will work very hard." That was how Amaka got her first real job in Lagos. Every day, she arrived early. She cleaned toilets, scrubbed floors, washed dishes, and smiled through the pain. She never complained. She never missed a day. The other workers noticed her hard work, and some began to like her. At the end of the day, when customers left, she would gather the leftover food carefully, half plates of jollof rice, meat bones, small chicken parts, and wrap them neatly. Then she would rush home to her children. "Mummy's back," Elizabeth would shout, running to hug her. David would help set the plates. They ate the leftover food like it was a king's feast. Even though the food was not fresh, Amaka always warmed it well and prayed over it before they ate. Life was still hard, but at least they were surviving. And unknown to Amaka, someone had been watching her very closely in that restaurant. Mr. Ejike was a quiet but powerful man. He owned the big restaurant where Amaka worked. People respected him a lot in Lagos. He was not just rich, he was kind, fair, and full of wisdom. Though he didn't talk much, he saw everything. He noticed Amaka the very first week she started work. He saw how she cleaned faster and better than others. How she did not gossip. How she never asked for help but helped others. How she came early and left late. One evening, after all the customers had left, he saw something that touched his heart deeply. Amaka thought no one was watching. She stood quietly in the kitchen, gathering small leftover food from the day. She wrapped them carefully, tiny pieces of meat, rice, plantain, whatever she could find. Then she placed it all in a nylon bag and tucked it into her old handbag. She wiped her eyes gently, straightened her wrapper, and walked out like a soldier going home from war. Mr. Eduque turned to the head chef. "Who is that woman?" The chef replied, "Oh, that is Amaka. She cleans and washes dishes. A widow with 2 children. Very hardworking, sir. Never complains." Mr. Eduque nodded slowly. "She packs food every evening." "Yes, sir. Leftovers only. She never steals fresh food. We allow her because we know she's suffering." That night, Mr. Eduque could not sleep. He kept thinking of Amaka and her children. He imagined them waiting at home, hungry but hopeful. The next day, he waited in the kitchen and watched again. Just as usual, Amaka cleaned, worked, and packed leftovers after work. He walked into the kitchen. She turned and saw him. Her heart jumped. "Good evening, sir." "Good evening," he said gently. "Amaka, can I talk to you for a moment?" She wiped her hands quickly and followed him to the office. Her legs were shaking. "Maybe I did something wrong," she thought. He asked her to sit. "How long have you been working here?" "Almost 3 months, sir," she replied, her voice low. "You work hard," he said. "And I have seen how you pack leftover food. Why do you do that?" Amaka's eyes filled with tears. "Sir, I'm sorry if it's wrong. I have 2 children, no money, no house. That is all I can give them to eat." Mr. Eduque was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "You are not in trouble. In fact, I want to help you." Amaka looked up in shock. "Help me?" He smiled gently. "Yes. Your story touched me. From tomorrow, you will stop taking leftover food. Instead, we'll give you a full meal every day for you and your children." Amaka covered her mouth. "Oh my God. Also," he continued, "I will help you rent a better house. Somewhere safe, clean, and peaceful." Amaka started crying. "That is not all, Mr. Eduque added. Your children will go to school. A good one. I will pay the fees." She fell to her knees. "Sir, I don't know what to say. God bless you. God bless you. You are an angel." Mr. Eduque helped her up. "You deserve more than pity. You have worked hard. You have done your part. Now let me do mine." That evening, for the first time in a long while, Amaka didn't pack leftovers. She went home with hot jollof rice, grilled chicken, fruit juice, and snacks all neatly packed by the chef. When David and Elizabeth saw it, their eyes opened wide. "Mummy, is it Christmas?" Amaka laughed with tears in her eyes. "No, my children. It is the beginning of our new life." And indeed, it was. The next morning, something amazing happened. Mr. Eduque sent one of his trusted workers to take Amaka and her children to see a new house he had paid for. It was in a quiet part of Ikeja not far from the restaurant. When they arrived at the compound, Amaka could not believe her eyes. The house was painted cream and brown. It had a small balcony, a proper toilet, clean water, and electricity. The floor inside was tiled, and there was even a small fan in the corner. Amaka held her chest. "Is this really for us?" "Yes, madam," the man said, smiling. "Oga Eduque paid for everything. 1 year's rent already done." She burst into tears, again. Elizabeth and David ran inside, jumping on the mattress on the floor. They screamed with joy. "We have light, Mummy. We have toilet. Mummy, this place is fine." Amaka knelt down in the middle of the room and lifted her hands. "God, you did not forget me. Thank you." That evening, Amaka made hot noodles for the children using the small gas cooker that came with the house. She warmed water and bathed them properly. She sang to them until they slept peacefully. No mosquitoes, no noise, no fear. For the first time in many months, she slept on a mattress. She did not hear gunshots or shouting. Just peace. The next morning, a new surprise came. Mr. Eduque sent a woman named Madame Oma to take the children shopping. They bought new clothes, sandals, school bags, and lunch boxes. Then they visited a good private school nearby. Amaka was speechless. She followed them to the school and stood outside as the headmistress welcomed her children. David looked proud in his school uniform. Elizabeth smiled shyly, holding her new backpack. "Mummy, we are going to real school," she whispered. Amaka hugged them tightly. "Yes, my children, and you will do well." As the school bell rang, Amaka watched them join other children. Her heart was full. No more begging. No more shame. Her children had a future now. Back at the restaurant, the workers also began to treat her differently. Some even asked how she got such favor. Just keep working hard and praying, she told them, smiling. From that day, Amaka's life changed completely. She still worked hard at the restaurant, but now with joy in her heart. No more secret tears. No more leftover food. She cooked at home, paid for by Mr. Ejike, who continued to support her quietly. One evening, while mopping the restaurant floor, she looked out the window and whispered, "God, I don't know what I did to deserve this, but thank you for sending Mr. Ejike." And far away in his office, Mr. Ejike smiled as he looked at her file. He had plans for her. Big plans. But she didn't know that yet. Friday evening, after closing time, Mr. Ejike called Amaka into his office again. Her heart beat fast as she stepped in. She had not spoken to him privately since he helped her move into the new house and sent her children to school. "Good evening, sir," she greeted, bowing slightly. "Amaka, sit down," he said with a calm smile. She sat gently, hands on her lap, wondering what he wanted to say. "How are you and the children?" he asked. "We are fine, sir. Very fine. God bless you, sir. I don't even know how to thank you." Mr. Ejike waved his hand. "No need to thank me. I just did what I felt in my heart." She looked down shyly. "Sir, since you helped us, everything has changed. My children are happy, they sleep well, they eat well. I still don't believe it sometimes." He nodded slowly. "Amaka, you remind me of someone." She looked up in surprise. "Sir, my late mother," he said softly. "She also struggled after my father died. She raised me and my younger brother with her own hands. She cleaned, cooked, suffered, but she never gave up." Amaka's eyes filled with tears. "Your mother must have been a strong woman, sir." "She was," he said proudly. "And I see that same strength in you. That is why I decided to help you." Amaka covered her mouth. "God bless her soul. And bless you too, sir." There was a small pause. Then Mr. Ejike leaned forward. "Amaka, what are your dreams?" She blinked. "Dreams? Yes. What do you want in life? Beyond cleaning plates and mopping floors. What is inside your heart?" Amaka thought deeply. "I want my children to become great," she said slowly. "I want them to be educated, happy, and safe. I want them to live a better life than me." He smiled. "That is beautiful. But what about you? What do you want for yourself?" She hesitated, then said, "I want to learn something. Maybe cooking. I have always loved cooking, but I've never had a chance." "Cooking?" he said with interest. "Yes, sir. I want to be a good cook. Maybe even own a small food shop one day." Mr. Ejike nodded. "That is possible. Very possible." She looked at him, surprised. "You think so, sir?" "I don't just think," he replied. "I will make it happen." Amaka gasped. "I will send you to a catering school part-time. You will work in the morning, and attend training in the afternoon. That way, you don't lose your job, and you also learn a skill." "Sir," she cried, holding her chest. "You want to send me to school too?" "Yes," he said. "You are helped yourself. You've helped your children. Now let me help you." Tears ran freely from her eyes. "I don't deserve this, sir." "Yes, you do," he said firmly. "Every woman who works hard and refuses to give up deserves a second chance." Amaka knelt down right there. "Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you." Mr. Ejike stood up and gently helped her rise. "No more tears, Amaka," he said kindly. "This is just the beginning." As she left the office that night, her heart was bursting with joy. Her children were in school. She had a roof over her head. And now, her own dream was about to begin. Hope was no longer a far thing. It was here, and it wore the name Mr. Ejike. Amaka couldn't sleep that night. She lay on the mattress, staring at the ceiling, with a smile on her face. Elizabeth and David were already snoring beside her, their small arms wrapped around each other. But Amaka's mind was full. She was going to learn catering. She was going to become a real cook. And maybe, just maybe, one day she would own her own food shop. She closed her eyes and whispered, "God, I never thought this kind of dream could be for someone like me." The next morning, Mr. Ejike's driver picked her up and drove her to the catering school. It was a simple place, run by women who wore white uniforms and big hairnets. They welcomed her warmly. One of the instructors, Madam Grace, held her hand and said, "You will do well, Amaka. I can feel it." From that day, Amaka began a new life. She worked at the restaurant in the mornings, as usual, washing plates, mopping floors, and serving food. But by 2 p.m. she would change clothes and rush to the catering school. She was the oldest student in her class, but also the most serious. She learned how to make jollof rice, fried rice, meat pie, puff puff, and even cakes. She took notes, asked questions, and practiced at home when she had small ingredients. She made her first pot of party jollof rice. When her children tasted it, they screamed, "Mummy, this one is sweet like wedding food." Amaka laughed and danced around the kitchen. "Na me cook am, Amaka the chef." Every evening, her confidence grew. She began to dress better, too. Nothing expensive, just neat, clean clothes and a bit of powder on her face. Her smile became brighter, her steps lighter. People at the restaurant noticed the change. "Amaka, something don day sweet you," one worker teased. She laughed. "Na so life be when God remember you." Even customers began to like her more. One madam gave her a small tip and said, "You have a good spirit. Keep it up." And always, in the background, Mr. Eduque watched. He didn't say much, but every week, he asked about her training, her children, and her dreams. "You are doing well, Amaka," he told her one day. "Very well." That night, Amaka wrote something on a piece of paper. It said, "Amaka's delight. Tasty food, happy people." She pinned it on the wall near her mattress. Her dream had a name now. And it was no longer a dream. It was becoming real. Monday afternoon at the catering school, Madam Grace made an announcement. "Next week," she said, "all students will take part in a cooking competition. You will each cook a full meal for a group of invited guests. The best student will win a special prize." Amaka's heart jumped. "A competition?" she asked. "Yes," Madam Grace replied. "We want to see what you've learned. You will cook and present your food like a professional chef." Some of the younger girls clapped and giggled, but Amaka felt nervous. She had never cooked for strangers before. At night, she could not sleep. She kept asking herself, "What if I fail? What if they laugh at my food? What if I disappoint Mr. Eduque?" But when she saw her children sleeping peacefully, she whispered, "I must try. For Elizabeth. For David. I won't give up now." She began to plan. She picked her best meal. Party jollof rice with grilled chicken, moi moi, and fried plantain. Every evening after work, she practiced at home with small ingredients. Sometimes her neighbors came to taste and said, "Amaka, this your food na die. You go win that competition." She smiled and said, "Amen." Oh, the big day came. Amaka wore a white chef's uniform and a clean apron. Her hands shook as she held her cooking spoon, but she took a deep breath. "You can do it," she whispered to herself. The hall was filled with guests, some rich women from Lagos, a few chefs. Each student was given a table, a gas cooker, and ingredients. Then the timer started. Amaka worked fast but carefully. She boiled her rice, fried the tomato sauce, and grilled the chicken. Her hands moved like they had done it for years. The smell of the food filled the air. One judge walked past and said, "Who is cooking that jollof rice? It smells like wedding food." Another nodded. "Whoever it is, she knows what she's doing." Amaka didn't hear them. She was too focused. After 2 hours, time was up. She arranged her plates carefully, rice in the middle, chicken by the side, moi moi wrapped in leaf, and plantain golden and sweet. When the judges came to taste her food, they took 1 bite, then 2, then 3. One woman said, "This food tastes like it was cooked with love." Madam Grace smiled at Amaka proudly. Later that evening, they announced the winner. The hall was quiet. The winner of this year's competition, with the best meal and highest points, is Amaka Obi. People clapped. Some shouted. Amaka covered her mouth in shock. "Me, I won." She walked slowly to collect her prize, a big cooking set, a cash gift, and a certificate. Tears rolled down her face. "I never thought I would stand here," she said softly. "I'm just a widow who wanted her children to eat." But now, she was more than that. She was Amaka, the champion cook. And this was only the beginning. The next day, Amaka returned to work at the restaurant like nothing had happened. She washed plates, swept the floor, and served food as usual. But something was different. People looked at her with admiration. Some whispered, "Nah, she win that cooking competition, oh." One of the waiters said, "You be celebrity now, Amaka." She laughed and replied, "A beg, make una no start. I still day wash plate." But that same evening, something happened that would change her life again. Mr. Ejike called her to his office. "Amaka," he said, "I want you to meet someone." A young lady with a camera and microphone stepped forward. She smiled and said, "Good evening. My name is Ifoma. I work with Lagos Women Rising, a local TV program. We want to feature your story." Amaka blinked. "My story?" "Yes," Ifoma said. "We heard about the competition. But more than that, we heard how you struggled after losing your husband. How you worked hard to care for your children, and how you never gave up. Your story can inspire other women." Amaka looked at Mr. Ejike. He nodded and said, "You deserve it." The interview was set for Saturday. On that day, Amaka dressed in her best native wear, blue and white with small silver beads. Her hair was neatly packed. Elizabeth helped apply small powder on her face while David said, "Mummy, don't forget to smile on TV." The camera crew came to her house. They filmed her cooking in her tiny kitchen. They asked her questions like, "How did you survive after your husband died? What made you stay strong for your children? How did you meet Mr. Ejike?" Amaka answered in her soft, humble voice. "I cried many nights. I begged God. Sometimes I picked leftover food just to feed my children. But God sent a helper." When they were done, the camera woman hugged her. "You are a powerful woman, Amaka. You made me cry." The show aired the next Sunday. People all over Lagos watched it. Strangers began calling the restaurant to ask, "Is Amaka there? I want to meet her." A woman sent a gift of clothes and school bags for Elizabeth and David. Someone else paid for an extra 6 months of their house rent. Even the women in the street where she lived started showing her respect. "Amaka, we dey proud of you," one neighbor said. That week, a customer at the restaurant said to her, "You inspired my sister not to give up. She's a widow too." Amaka smiled. She never imagined that her pain would become someone else's strength. From that moment, she understood something deep. My story is not just mine. It belongs to every woman who feels forgotten. After the TV interview, Amaka's life started to change in ways she never imagined. One busy morning at the restaurant, Mr. Ejike called her to his office again. "Amaka," he said kindly, "I'll have a new idea for you." She looked at him curiously. "I want to help you open your own small food business," he explained. "You have the talent, the passion, and the heart. Now it's time to share your cooking with the world." Amaka's eyes widened. "Really? Me? Own food business?" "Yes. I will help with the rent for a small shop. I will introduce you to suppliers and customers. But you have to work hard and keep learning." Tears filled her eyes. "Thank you, sir. Thank you so much." Within 2 weeks, Amaka moved into a tiny shop in a busy Lagos market. She painted the walls bright yellow and hung a sign that said, "Amaka's Delight, tasty food, made with love." Her children came with her every day after school. David helped clean tables while Elizabeth greeted customers with a shy smile. At first, the business was slow. People didn't know her yet. But Amaka never gave up. She cooked fresh, delicious meals every day. She remembered what Madame Grace taught her. Always serve with a smile. Slowly, people began to come. One man said, "His jollof rice not correct jollof." A lady told her friends, "You must try Amaka's moi moi, sweet die." Before long, Amaka's Delight became one of the favorite small restaurants in the market. Her children were proud of their mother. One evening, David said, "Mummy, I want to be a chef like Elizabeth." Added, "Me too. I want to learn to cook party rice." Amaka laughed and hugged them tight. She looked around her small shop and whispered, "God, you have opened a new door. Thank you." Amaka's Delight was growing fast, but running a business was not easy. Every morning, Amaka woke up before sunrise. She cooked, cleaned, and prepared everything herself. Sometimes, the market was noisy and crowded. Sometimes, the electricity would go off, and she had to cook with no light. One day, the stove broke down right in the middle of cooking. Amaka panicked. "How will I finish cooking jollof rice for my customers?" She quickly called a repairman, but he said it would take 2 days to fix. For those 2 days, Amaka borrowed a small gas cooker from a neighbor and worked extra hard. Some customers complained about the delay, but many encouraged her. "Amaka, No wahala. We understand. Her children helped more than ever. Elizabeth washed dishes, while David ran errands. Sometimes, Amaka felt tired and wondered if she could continue. She missed her late husband deeply. One evening, she sat alone and whispered, "Papa, I need your strength now." The next day, a kind woman named Mummy Nkechi came to the shop. She said, "Amaka, I heard about your struggles. I want to help you with some money to fix your stove." Amaka smiled with tears. "Thank you, Mummy Nkechi. God bless you." Slowly, Amaka learned that business was not just about cooking, it was about patience, kindness, and asking for help. She promised herself to keep going, no matter the challenge. One busy afternoon, as Amaka was serving customers, the shop door suddenly opened wide. A tall man in a neat suit walked in. He smiled warmly and said, "Hello, Amaka Obi." Amaka paused, wiping her hands on her apron. "Yes, I'm Amaka. How can I help you?" The man introduced himself. "My name is Mr. Femi. I'm a businessman and friend of Mr. Ejike." Amaka nodded, curious but calm. "I have heard about your hard work and your amazing cooking," he said. "Mr. Ejike asked me to visit and offer you some help." Amaka's eyes filled with hope. "What kind of help?" she asked softly. "I want to offer you a small loan to expand your business, Mr. Femi said. "You can buy more equipment, hire helpers, and reach more customers." Amaka smiled widely but shook her head. "I'm grateful, sir, but I don't want to owe anyone money." Mr. Femi laughed gently. "This is not a loan with interest. Think of it as a gift to help you grow." Amaka looked at her children playing outside. She thought about the future. "Thank you," she said with tears. "This means so much to me." From that day, Amaka worked harder than ever. She bought a new stove, hired a young helper, and started cooking bigger meals. Her food reached more people in Lagos, and her reputation grew. She never forgot the kindness of Mr. Ejike and Mr. Femi. With the new help from Mr. Femi, Amaka's food business grew quickly. She bought a bigger stove and new cooking pots. She hired a young helper named Chinadu to wash dishes and serve customers. Now, Amaka could cook more meals every day. People from all over Lagos came to taste her delicious jollof rice, mwah, and peppered chicken. One busy morning, a man in a neat suit came to the shop. He said, "Amaka, your food is amazing. I want to order food for my company party next week." Amaka smiled and replied, "Thank you, sir. I will be happy to cook for you." The company party was a big success. Many guests loved Amaka's food. Some even asked for her phone number to order food for their events. Amaka felt proud and grateful. She remembered how hard it was before when she was just collecting leftover food from the restaurant. Now, she was a respected businesswoman. Her children also saw the change. David said, "Mummy, I want to help you run the business when I grow up." Ada added, "Me too. I want to learn to cook and manage money." Amaka hugged them tightly. "We will do it together," she said. She knew this was only the beginning. Her dream was growing bigger, just like her business. Amaka's big chance came when Mr. Bello, a popular Lagos businessman, called her one morning. "Amaka, I want you to cater for my wife's birthday party next week," he said excitedly. Amaka's heart beat fast. "This is a big order," she thought. "But I'm ready for the challenge." She told Mr. Bello, "Thank you so much. I will prepare delicious food for your guests." For days, Amaka planned the menu. She made sure to include jollof rice, fried chicken, pepper soup, and her special mwah. Her helper, Chinadu, worked hard with her. David and Elizabeth also helped by packing the food carefully. The day of the party arrived. Amaka and her team arrived early with large pots filled with steaming, tasty food. Mr. Bello guests were impressed. "Wow, this food is delicious," one lady said. Another man nodded. "This is the best party food I have ever tasted in Lagos." Mr. Femi smiled at Amaka. "You did a wonderful job." Amaka felt proud and thankful. This big order brought many new customers. People started calling to order food for weddings, birthdays, and other celebrations. Amaka's business was growing fast, and she was ready to take on more challenges. As Amaka's business grew, so did her responsibilities. Mr. Ejike called her to the restaurant. "Amaka," he said gently, "I'll want to offer you a better job here. You can be the head chef and manage our kitchen." Amaka was surprised and thankful. But she also felt confused. She loved her own food business, but the restaurant job would give her a steady income and more security. That evening, Amaka sat quietly with her children. I have a big decision to make, she told them. David looked serious. Mummy, you should do what makes you happy. Elizabeth nodded, but don't forget us. Amaka smiled. I will think carefully. Whatever I choose, I promise to work hard for us. After many sleepless nights, Amaka decided she would keep running her own business and work part-time at the restaurant. This way, she could have steady income and still grow her dream. Mr. Ejike was happy with her decision. Amaka, you are strong and wise. I believe you will succeed. Amaka felt hopeful. She knew the road ahead was not easy, but with her children's support and her own courage, she could face any challenge. Amaka's days became very busy. In the mornings, she cooked and managed her own food business. In the afternoons and evenings, she worked at Mr. Ejike's restaurant as head chef. Some days were tiring. She woke up early to prepare food for her customers, then rushed to the restaurant to manage the kitchen. Her children, David and Elizabeth, helped as much as they could. David carried food packages, while Elizabeth cleaned the dishes. Even though she was tired, Amaka never gave up. She told herself, this is for my children's future. Sometimes, customers at the restaurant asked about her own business. I want to try your food someday, they said. Amaka smiled and gave them her shop address. Her hard work started to pay off. Her food shop grew busier, and she earned more money from the restaurant. She also saved a little for her children's school fees. One evening, after a long day, Amaka sat with her children. We are getting closer to our dreams, she said softly. David smiled. Mummy, you are our hero. Elizabeth hugged her tightly. We love you. Amaka felt grateful. She knew balancing two jobs was hard, but love for her children gave her strength. One sunny Saturday morning, Amaka woke her children with a big smile. David, Elizabeth, today is a special day, she said. The children looked curious. Amaka held out 2 new school uniforms. These are for you, she said softly. You will start at a new school next week. David's eyes grew wide. Really, Mummy, a new school? Jumped up happily. Thank you, Mummy, I can't wait. Amaka explained. Mr. Ejike helped me with this. He said education is very important. David hugged his mother tightly. We promise to work hard and make you proud, he said. Ada nodded. We will be good students. Amaka felt her heart fill with joy. For years, she had worried about how to pay for school fees. Now, her children could go to a better school with good teachers. That evening, Amaka cooked their favorite meal to celebrate. As they ate, David smiled. Mummy, I'm happy we never gave up. Amaka replied, neither will I, my dear. Our future is bright. The first day at the new school was both exciting and scary for David and Elizabeth. Amaka walked them to the big school gate. Remember, be kind and work hard, she said. David nodded, and Elizabeth held her hand tight. Inside, the school was busy and full of children. David felt shy. Some children looked at his old clothes and whispered. Elizabeth held her brother's hand and said, don't worry, David. We are here to learn and be strong. At recess, David tried to join a group playing football. One boy said, you are not from here. Go away. David felt sad but kept trying. Elizabeth found a kind girl named Grace. Grace smiled and said, come play with us. David and Elizabeth started to feel happy again. At home, Amaka listened carefully as the children told her about their day. She gave them a big hug. We will face challenges, but together we are strong, she said. Amaka promised to help them every step of the way. Days passed, and David and Elizabeth slowly made new friends. Grace invited them to her house. Amaka was happy when the children told her. Grace's family is kind, David said. Amaka smiled. Good friends are a blessing. At school, the teachers noticed David and Elizabeth's hard work. One teacher, Miss Alucci, called Amaka one day. Amaka, your children are bright and respectful, she said kindly. If you need help, please tell me. Amaka felt grateful. She replied, thank you, Ma. I want my children to succeed. Miss Alucci gave Amaka books and school supplies. With this help, the children's school life became easier. At home, Amaka cooked dinner with a lighter heart. She knew that with good friends and kind teachers, her children would have a better future. Amaka sat by the window, watching the Lego sunset paint the sky with gold and orange. Her heart felt full of hope. After all the hard work, the long days, and the struggles, things were finally looking up. Her children, David and Ada, were doing well in school. They woke up every morning eager to learn. David wanted to be a doctor one day, to help sick people like the ones who had helped their family. Elizabeth dreamed of becoming a teacher, so she could help other children learn. Amaka was proud but never forgot how far they had come. She remembered the days when they had no food, no home, and no hope. Now, they had a small but cozy house, good food, and the chance to build a better life. Mr. Educate continued to support them, not just with only money, but with advice and kindness. He became like family to them. He said, "Amaka, your strength inspires me. You have shown what a mother's love can do." Amaka smiled shyly. "I only want the best for my children." With each new day, Amaka worked harder. Her food business was growing bigger, with more customers loving her cooking. She planned to open a bigger shop soon. Her children helped by spreading the word and welcoming customers. The future looked bright. Amaka knew challenges would still come, but now she was ready. With love, hard work, and support, she believed anything was possible. As she tucked David and Elizabeth into bed that night, she whispered, "Sleep well, my darlings. Tomorrow is a new day full of hope and dreams." And with that, their story of struggle turned into a story of triumph and a brighter tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening to Amaka's story. It's a story about a strong mother who never gave up, even when life was very hard. She showed us that love, courage, and hard work can help us overcome even the toughest challenges. Amaka's journey teaches us that no matter what happens, hope and kindness can open new doors. With the help of good people like Mr. Educate, and the support of her children, she built a better life. Remember, we all have the power to change our story one step, one day at a time. The end. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to leave a comment. I love to hear what you think about Amaka and her family. Thank you again. My dear friends, please support me by clicking the subscribe button. Your support means so much to me. Let's grow this family together one story at a time. Thank you so much.